Diary of a Crazy Boy, an audience member came over to me who was mentally challenged and had to sort of take my hand and shake, and his mother came over and said he was so moved by this play and it was so touching, and it's, you know, there's all sorts of things like that. Tales of an Urban Indian that we did in Hannibal, Missouri, where an audience sort of goes, you know, Indians are, those are the ones we killed off. There are no Indians around here. Or my great-great-grandmother was part Cherokee. For them to be moved by a play and to be humanized in that, one of the first experiences was Dry Lips in Pass Marai, and looking down and going, I know every one of those characters on that stage personally. I know who they are. I know them. And a big one for me was Lear at NAC. When they actually did Shakespeare, they spoke Shakespeare. It wasn't a translation, it was Shakespeare on stage, and whether the performances were all gold or not, to be able to sit back and go, they're doing Shakespeare, that to me was amazing. And I sat up and saw my peers doing that, and I just went, that's what we need to do. We need to do more of that. We need to go, we're actors who happen to be Native, and Graham Greene has always said that, like, I'm an actor who's Native, and I want to be pushed to do bigger and better roles in that sense. I do want to do classic theater, and I think we have the possibility. I want to invade Stratford. I want to go into Shaw. I want the opportunity to fail in those spaces, and I want to be able to succeed in those spaces and be able to do classical theater. So I think that was a big one for me, and I wish I'd been part of it, but I was glad that I got to see it.
This production of True West, because it had two Native actors, and I'd seen David McNally in other shows, and so I'd always kind of had someone to look up to and to give me a sense of hope for what I could possibly do with my own career. But what was so compelling about that story was seeing how they had somehow made it Native just by them. It wasn't really advertised like it was a Native show, but it just had these two Native guys in it. And Marilyn Ryan, who was playing the mother, so funny because you've got these two brothers, one who went off to university and had a different kind of education, and this other brother kind of stayed more around home, and it just felt like, I mean, that's how I was raised. I was a product of a single mother with my brother and I. He stayed up north in Alberta, and I went off to college, and so to see that, it suddenly felt like I was really watching myself, and I was so overwhelmed by this experience that at the end of the show, I got up and ran out of the theater and bawled in my car for about a half an hour. My wife had to come and calm me down. And I think that all these people in the theater that I knew and colleagues, they thought I hated it. But I was just overwhelmed, and I couldn't, and it was so hard to explain to them that I'm going, no, that was the first time that I felt these Indigenous artists could represent me, especially being mixed blood and figuring out what all this means for myself and a sense of identity. So it was overwhelming, and I think it impacted me for my whole life.